I'm just going to pray for Brad before we start. Lord, I just pray that you would speak to Brad, speak through Brad, and speak to us this evening. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Well, let me get this right so I can actually see you. See, it's not working. Nice one. Anyway, it's really great to see you here. As she said, my name's Brad. Now, the first thing you guys should know about me is that I am a geek. Not a little geek, quite a big geek. I like to think that I cover the entire geek spectrum. So, I love video games, I love my Mac. Lord of the Rings came out, I was first in the queue. I've even secretly hooked my 5-year-old son on Zelda and Mario. My wife is very patient. But my biggest geek out is comics. When I was a kid, all my pocket money went on comics. Even now, all my Amazon recommendations seem to be comic related. So my wife is very patient. But my favorite characters are the X-Men, which hopefully all of you know. And of them is, of course, Wolverine. He's the best. I mean, this guy is tough. He's got the claws that, you know, snick out of his hands. He's got metal all over his bones. He can heal from anything. And toughest of all, he's Canadian. So, need I say more? Now, my whole life, my mum has tried desperately to understand this part of me. And I can safely say, at no point has she come close to understanding this part of me. Now, my mum's a Christian, and growing up my dad wasn't, so my mum tried to cram in as much Christianity as she could while I was growing up. So, imagine it's your 12th birthday, and you're thinking, okay, Super Nintendo. Actually, you guys might not know what that is. Okay, imagine the best video game system that's ever existed, okay? Now multiply that by 10, okay? That's how I felt. No, that's how I still feel about the Super Nintendo. Okay, so, my birthday comes, run downstairs, rip open my present, and it's, yeah, wait for it, it's a Bible. That's right, it was a Bible. So, wow, now I feel pretty guilty. That was just a lot of guilt right there. So, so it turns out, next year I hid my disappointment a little better than I thought I did, because the next year wasn't quite as surprised when I received, for my birthday, Bible hero action figures. That's right, Moses, David, Abraham, Jesus, Paul, the whole lot, they were all there. I think we might even have a picture that I've stolen from the internet. Or not, you know, if it's there. There we go. Yes, there we go. Now, I'd like to stress, the guy I got wasn't even as cool as that guy. He was this skinny white guy with these limp wrists. He was wearing a white dress with a sash. You know, at least Moses came with a weapon. I mean, this guy did not look cool at all. Which kind of sums up the way we tend to see Jesus in the media. Needless to say, even to this day, when a package comes through from my mum, I'm not quite as excited as I might be. And I have something to demonstrate this, because my mother recently sent through the post the most wonderful of presents. This is called Gabbit. It's the Family Faith Edition. And what it's supposed to do is, when you have your family together time, which I'm sure all of you do, where you just talk about stuff, this allows you to, it has lots of questions, and then you discuss them. So let's listen to one of them.
Would you rather live to age 35 as a millionaire, or to age 85 as a poor?
Oh, somebody's listened to it. I'd saved one that was amazing.
Who's your best friend, and what do you like?
No, that one's not good.
What's more important, friends or family?
Oh, that one's nice.
What's one word you would use to describe your family?
Now my favorite, however, was, the Bible says that if you honor your mother and father, you'll live a long life. If that's the case, how long will you live? And I think it's the Canadian accent that makes it seem infinitely cheesier. So I like this, but not quite what I was looking for. Now, that it seems like, things like that, the only pictures we see in the media seem to be pictures like this. No? Well, that one, yes. Not that one either. That one. And keep going. And that one. And that one. And that one. Oh, I like that one. Keep going. And that one. 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 Oh, wow, nice bit. Yeah, and that one. And have we got more? Yeah. Oh, I think there might be one. Oh, yeah, very creepy. And one more. Oh, yeah, that's my favorite. You know, at least that last one has lasers coming out of his chest. I mean, that is kind of awesome. But really, so camp. So very camp. Now, this isn't to say that Jesus wasn't gentle and sensitive, but it seems like somewhere along the lines, we seem to have erased Jesus' toughness. I mean, Jesus probably wouldn't have looked like any of those guys. For one thing, he probably wouldn't have walked around with a glowing halo on his head. 700 years before Jesus was born, there were loads of prophecies about him, and in Isaiah 53, it says that he'd be humble and that there'd be nothing about him that would attract us to him. Now, I'm pretty sure, going out on a limb here, if somebody had a radioactive halo on their head or giant laser beams shooting out of their chest, you might notice that guy. Jesus, who's he? Yes, laser beams. Yes, I know him. He is that guy. So, the other thing that stands out for quite a few of those pictures is that he probably would have looked a little bit more Jewish, mainly because he was Jewish. So, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, probably out. In fact, it's pretty unlikely that he would have had long hair, which is a bit of a relief for me because I just don't get any of you guys who have long hair. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So Jesus was from Nazareth.
What about me? I got long hair.
Guys,
Oh, okay.
not girls. So Jesus was from Nazareth, and thus he was a Nazarene, and somewhere along the lines it seems to have been confused with the Nazarite vow that some people took. Now they took it for a short time, and it would mean that they wouldn't cut their hair or other stuff. So I imagine Jesus would have normal hair, not soft, long hair that you'd see in some sort of shampoo commercial. Especially as in the Bible there are verses that specifically state that it's shameful for a man to have long hair like a sissy. That's my translation. Now, the other thing about those pictures, go back one because I want to look at, yeah. The other thing about those pictures, it looks a bit like my grandma could have them in a fight. Like, don't get me wrong, she was a big lady, but most of that was pie, not muscle. But the thing is, Jesus was a carpenter for the first 30 years of his life, not like these pansy carpenters today. Like, that guy could be a carpenter today. I mean, carpenters today use electric tools, they even have nail guns. Let me give you an example. What do you think is manlier? This? Or this? You know? What do you think strikes you as, well, maybe this is more terrifying than manly, especially with the hockey mask that I don't wear. So, you know, Jesus did a physical job. He was a proper man. Not like me, I work in insurance. Enough said. Not a real job. So, we're going to look at a few snapshots of Jesus in the Bible. You know, these pictures are wrong. You know, I can't look up to those guys. Maybe the ladies. Those are kind of cool still. But I can't relate to that. So, I have a lot of pictures of Jesus, and I want to share them with you. But unfortunately, they didn't have digital cameras back then, so I have to describe them to you. Now, it's going to feel a little bit like I jump around a lot, mainly because I have a really short attention span. So if it feels a little bit ADD, probably because it is. So just stay with me for a bit. So we're going to look at Jesus being tough and Jesus being gentle. Jesus being a superhero, Jesus being a perfect dad. So let's go. So we'll start out with tough. So picture this. There's this crazy naked guy in town. He's filled with loads of demons, and he's hanging around in the graveyard. So, the reason he's hanging around in the graveyard is because people have tried chaining him up, and he keeps breaking the chains. So this is your classic crazy super villain. Just normal, straight out of the comics here. I mean, nobody in their right mind would go near this guy. Probably mums back then would scare their kids. Eat your broccoli, or crazy naked guy. When actually, that would be a really bad mum who'd say anything like that. So, probably not. But either way, pretty terrifying. But Jesus, he comes off a boat, first thing he does, goes straight up to this guy. But even better, before the guy even gets a chance, before Jesus even says anything, the guy drops to his knees, and the demons beg Jesus not to torture them. I love it. They beg him, please don't torture us. And you know what Jesus does? Okay, fine. Sends them off into a herd of pigs. Pigs go careening off a cliff, and they all die. So, all the people in the town, they're like, whoa, whoa, what just happened here? And they come to see, and they see crazy naked guy, and they're especially pleased because he's no longer naked. So that's one thing. But he's not crazy anymore. He's sitting at Jesus' feet, and Jesus is teaching him. So, amazingly tough, and then all of a sudden really gentle with that guy. You know, if you're facing big trouble, Jesus is afraid of nothing. Whoever you are, whatever you've been into, Jesus can handle it.